So welcome to FIN6407 Advanced Financial Management. This is a distance learning course, which means much of the course material is asynchronous, which means you can access it at your own convenience, and it is online. By university rules, we are allowed to have 8 hours, up to 8 hours of face-to-face instruction time in a live classroom setting, but I have chosen not to use that and put all of the material online so that you can access it at your convenience, at the time that you choose to, at a place that you choose to, in the way that enhances your learning experience. However, due to some technical reasons, out of the 5 exams that I administer in this course, only 4 of them will be asynchronous, meaning you can complete those exams over a 24-hour window that I will provide you, and you can do them online. The final exam, the 5th exam, it's not a final, but it's the last exam of the course. It's not a comprehensive final. Will be administered on campus. I'm still trying to work out the logistics, whether it can be done online, but on campus, but synchronous, meaning it will be a time that I will provide you, and you have to be on campus to take that 5th test. Or it would be, if technical reasons prohibit me from doing that, then I may have to administer that 5th test on a piece of paper. I will let you know as we work out some of the technical details surrounding that. I will let you know in the course, in due time. So most of the course, if not all of the course, is accessible through Canvas. So once you log into your Canvas account, you have already logged in, that's why you are on this page, and you are watching the tutorial video. And I will walk you through this so that I will show you exactly where things are, how to access them, and if you have obviously any questions, you can always come back and ask me about it. So you start the course by clicking on Start Here. That takes you into the course overview. You get an overview of the course. It tells you that this is the course that is about the fundamentals of financial management. We are primarily trying to learn about valuation of financial assets like stocks and bonds, but also valuation of companies and valuation of assets. Valuation of assets such as a company or a project or a particular equipment that is producing certain cash flows and so on. So we will learn about that. Much of the course is about the nuts and bolts of finance, the basic building blocks of finance. So you are learning about the tools that are necessary for us to value a stream of financial cash flows. That's essentially what it is. And to do those things, we have to understand what are the tools, what are the technology we are using, what are the tools, the formulas, and of course, to get a deeper dive into it, a slightly deeper dive into it, we also have to understand what is the theory, what are the theories behind these formulas or these ideas that we will be accessing to develop our insights into valuation. So that's pretty much the nuts and bolts of the course. But in addition to that, what I have added into the course is for you to do outside reading so that you begin to appreciate the linkages between the theory, which is the primary purpose of the course. So understand the linkages between theory and practice. How is finance actually practiced in the real world, in the workplace, in corporations, in banks? What are the rules of the game that govern financial markets? How do those rules apply? What happens when those rules are stretched or violated? How can the regulatory environment be improved so that it enhances efficiency, profit making, but also keeps the marketplace fair so that no one party has excessive advantage in a transaction? There is an element of fairness that has to be preserved in a regulatory environment. All of that we will also learn so that we have a better appreciation of the theories, but also a better appreciation in the world that finance operates. Finance is not an island. Finance is linked to the bigger purpose of business and by extension the bigger purpose of society. Finance is a means to a goal. It is not a means by itself. The goal is to make the company profitable, make the company valuable, make the company efficient so that it serves the customers and by extension the society in its proper way. How does all that work? How does all that fit into a bigger picture? That will also be part of the course. And we will do this primarily through external readings, and I'll walk you through how that will happen. So what you should do is, once you go into the home page, you will scroll down, and by clicking on these icons, you can link to the syllabus. You can read the syllabus, open it up in a window if you want. You can make it full page and read through the syllabus. I have outlined for you over here my contact information. I am in building 42, room 3216. My phone number, my brief bio, my email address, and since this is a distance learning course, I will also be accessible via Skype. But to access me via Skype, you just need to send me an email so that I have turned on my Skype and I have allowed you to call in. And that's my Skype address. Of course, you can always walk into my office during Tuesdays and Thursdays 6 to 7 if you want to do a face-to-face consultation with me. That option is always available. And if for some reason you are not available during this window of time, you can set up another time with me, another date and time with me to meet. I prefer that the primary method of communication would be through email, and I urge you to communicate with me through Canvas. That way I can track, I will have a track of all the conversations, and it will show me who you are. Sometimes students forget to identify who they are, but if you're going through Canvas, it will always flag for me that you are a student in this particular course of mine. So it makes it easier for me to communicate with you. These are the general course objectives. I discussed some of it just a few minutes ago. And then you have some of the broader points that we're trying to cover: written communication, or assess written communication, oral communication, and computer applications, and so on and so forth. I do spend some amount of time on ethical issues, particularly through your Understanding Finance assignment, which is a book reading that will lead to an essay that you will write based on that book reading. The course material, you will use Corporate Finance as a textbook, 4th edition. You can either use the online version of that, or you can use a physical hard copy version of that, your choice, and I'll show you how to access that in a moment. But you must have the textbook with you at all times whenever you are studying, because although you can use the lectures as a reference point, but you must make it a habit to read the textbook, annotate my lectures with the textbook, and also use the textbook for practice problems. In addition, you will subscribe to My Finance Lab, and I'll show you how to do that in a moment. And My Finance Lab will give you access to additional practice problems, and it will be the primary vehicle through which you will be assessed on your quizzes. So make sure that you have access to it in a relatively quick amount of time so that you can start working on them immediately. You will also need a financial calculator. My recommendation is that you use the Texas Instrument BA2 Plus calculator. And the only reason I recommend this particular model, although I'm okay with whichever other model you may want to use, is because I have a display version of a computer display version of this calculator that I use in my classroom lectures to show you how to prime the calculator and use the calculator in class. And you will need to have access to Wall Street Journal, and the Wall Street Journal is accessible to you through your MyWings account. If you go to MyWings, on the right-hand side, you will see a link to Wall Street Journal, and the entire journal is accessible to you, including archival copies of the journal. And that's a great resource material through which you again try on your own to figure out the linkages between the theory that is the primary purpose of the class and the course, and the real world of finance, the practitioner world of finance. How does all of that work? How does all of that fit in? Occasionally, I do refer to some stories in my lectures from the Wall Street Journal, but I leave it mostly up to the student initiative that you read the journal and you ask me questions about it. You can ask questions about it via email, via Skype, or you can show up at my office and we can have a conversation on it. I highly encourage that you try to read the journal on a regular basis, and you try to see, particularly, try to determine how does some of the theories and the ideas that we're discussing in class, how does it link up to the real world, the practical world of finance. Take a moment and read through the assurance of learning, the continuity of instruction section, and particularly the students with disabilities. If you fall into that category, make sure that you understand this section, that you have help available, both from my office as well as from the Disability Resource Center here on campus. And I have instructions over here that you should use to avail of those benefits on campus. Again, a little bit of blurb about Wall Street Journal. The Wall Street Journal copy that you are accessing through MyWings, you have essentially paid for it, so you might as well access it and read it. There is no classroom per se, but this is a virtual classroom, which means that you apply the same rules. You don't have a regularly defined class time, but you should schedule either an hour, 15 minutes, 2 days a week, or an hour, 2 hours, 30 minutes, one day, at least 2 hours, 30 minutes, one day a week, and make it a habit that you have reviewed the lecture material as if you are in class. The only difference between a regular classroom and a distance learning classroom is that you develop your own time for your class sessions. What I recommend is that you schedule a regular time during which you will review lecture materials related to that week or that unit that you will be assigned. Do not procrastinate. Don't try to review the lectures. Don't try to binge watch the lectures a day or two before the test, because it will do you no good. Virtually, it will do you no good. So the advantage of a distance learning class is that you schedule it according to your own time, and you do not have to worry about parking and dressing up to be in class. So it takes away that logistic. You save some time on those logistics, but does not mean you skip lectures. As an additional point of emphasis and a point and a check, I will be able to review who among you have reviewed which lectures and how much time you have spent on those lectures. This is exactly what I would do if you are a student sitting in front of me in a classroom. I would know which students are attending and how much time you are spending in class attending the lecture. Whether you're leaving the class early or coming in late, I will be able to monitor that. I have the same tools that I have access to, that I will be able to see who among you have accessed the lecture and reviewed the lecture, and how much time you have spent reviewing the lecture. I mention this to you so that you understand that you are not completely anonymous to me. Although we don't meet face to face, I know exactly who you are and how much time and effort you are putting into this course, and I'm able to track it. But the more important thing is that that you use the resources effectively. Because if you use the resources available to you effectively, you will be able to do a better job and perform better in the classroom. you will be able to learn the material better, and you will be able to perform on the material better. And that's important. That's the real purpose. I am not literally grading you on your on how much time you're spending on the online lectures, although I could, but I certainly will use that as a guideline if you access me or if you come to me asking for some relief or asking for some exceptions or pleading that you have not been able to do a certain test well even though you thought you were prepared. One of the ways I will be able to determine your level of preparedness for a particular assignment is by reviewing how much time you have spent on a lecture. The method of approaching this course is very simple. You start by reading the chapter. You have on your course syllabus, and I'll show that to you on your course outline, the dates over which I expect you to complete reading the chapters. So you start by reading the chapters. And this is the same thing I tell to my students if you are physically in my classroom, that you read the chapter before you attend my lecture. This makes you an active participant in the lecture. This will help you to anticipate what is coming up in the lecture. You will know that these are the things I will be talking about. If for some reason my explanation is not clear to you, you can pause and rewind and try to listen to it again. There's one facility available to you, one tool available to you since you are listening to the lecture online. And if it is still not clear to you after you have given it a couple of attempts to read it, review it, then certainly send me an email referencing that on this lecture, at this time in the lecture, I said this, and you were not completely certain what I said, and you are looking for more explanation on what I said, or something that I said was not completely clear to you. Could I clarify what I meant when I said whatever I said in the lecture? So those are the things that you need to do. So you start by reading the lecture, then you review the video, the lecture videos, and then you start by working on a few end of the chapter problems that I have listed on your course outline, and then you move on to working on the practice problems on my finance lab, and that will help you get ready for the graded quiz. You want to look at the graded quiz because that's what's part of your assignment. And once you have completed the graded quiz, you will have time to review the graded quiz before you are ready to take the exam. So that's the sequence of progression. Chapter, lecture video, end of chapter problems, my finance practice problems, graded quiz, exam questions. And you repeat this for each unit. Repeat this cycle for each unit. There are 5 exams. As I mentioned earlier, 4 of those exams will be asynchronous and can be taken over any 24-hour window on the date noted on the syllabus. You will access exams through Examity, which I'll show you in a minute where that's available. The 5th exam may be online and would be conducted on campus. All exams count towards the final grade, and each exam will be worth 50 points. There is a group exercise. I have already randomly assigned you into groups. Through your group link on Canvas, you can contact the other members of your group and figure out a mechanism by which you will be able to collaborate with each other in this assignment. You will read a book from the list of choices that are given to you. You will first, each group should meet either online or physically or through conference call or through GoToMeeting, whichever tool you want to use, and decide which of the books from the list of choices you want to use for your understanding finance exercise. And through Canvas, I'll show you a link. Once you go into that link, one member of the group should go in and make that choice. Once a group has chosen a book, that book will not be available for another group. So it is on a first come, first served basis. You go in, you make your choices. Once those choices have been made, then you start working on it. At the end of the semester, you will be writing an essay. Over the entire semester, you will read the book as a group, you will discuss the book as a group, you will use the Google Docs tool that is embedded on Canvas to write your notes. So each member of the group must participate in note writing. So that's kind of your draft, where I will be able to see which members of the group has participated in the development of that essay, and which members have not participated in the development of those essays. And you will work on that. And then finally, you will prepare your final draft, convert that draft into a PDF file, and then upload that draft on Canvas. That will be the draft that I will be, the final draft that I will be reading towards your grade, towards your final grade. And in addition, the group will participate. I will provide you with the tool in due time. You will see the tool that you will be using. You will be narrating a PowerPoint, a brief 10-minute PowerPoint that I will also use to grade your test. The online graded quiz under My Finance Lab. The online graded quiz under My Finance Lab is the method of testing for your online quizzes. The best 5 quizzes will count towards your final grade. Quiz dates are available on the course outline. So your 5 exams add up to 250 points. The 5 quizzes add up to 100 points. The essay add up to 50 points. That's 400 points total. But I also require you to write an introductory blog about yourself, and that will be 5 bonus points. That's just 5 points. It's a completion grade. If you write it according to the instructions provided, you get 5 bonus points added to your overall grade. Generally, I do not allow makeup policies unless there are true exceptions, well-documented exceptions, and only upon my discretion and upon proper documentation. You can contact me via email, Skype, or through Canvas. And just make sure that if you're sending a standalone email, then on the subject line, write FIN6407 so that again I can identify you as a student in this class. So that's the basic syllabus. Then the course outline provides you with the chapters that we are covering. You can see the first unit, the first module, is made up of chapters 1, 2, 3, and 4, plus the movie Inside Job that you will review on your own. These are the topics that we are covering. These are the practice problems that I have provided you for just basic practice. You need to complete the registration of My Finance Lab by August 31st, no later than that, because you have to be ready for your quiz September 1st. The groups have already been assigned. You have been already randomly assigned to a group, but there may be last moment changes if there are some adds and drop. So you really do not want to start your group work until September 5th has passed, because that's the last date that I will use. If for some reason, let's say from one group, 2 students drop out, then I will have to take one of the remaining students and move them into another group. So I just leave it that date so that we are past the the initial add drop date. So those are the dates for the quizzes, and then we have the first exam, which will be through Examity, which I'll show you in a moment how you will access it. And then it goes on. It repeats. Essentially, each module repeats the cycle. 1 or 2 quizzes each module, and followed by an exam. And the final exam will be on campus, and your essay and presentation that you will upload on Canvas is due the last week of the semester on December 5th. So review that. Those times, particularly the exam and quiz times, should be available to you on your Canvas. As you know, on Canvas, you can see that on your calendar, for example. So this is, let's say, if I go over here, I can see directly on my calendar, I can see the graded quiz is due on that day. First exam, it is starting on this day, but it is due on this day. The exam is on September 6th, and so on and so forth. So back to my course over here, DL. In addition, there is an outline for the videos. This is just additional, you don't need to review this, but I have it over here. For some reason this link is not working. Okay, you can see this over here, that these are the videos, these are the lecture videos that you are reviewing for the 5 modules that you are going through. There is a little bit of a couple of small things that I need to fix over here, but that will be fixed by the time we start the course. But that's just an additional piece of data that is not really critical for you to review, because the reason it's not critical because you will access all of the information through your modules. And you see the link for the modules. You can access the modules either through the module link on the home page or through the sidebar over here. I'm showing you the instructor view because that will make everything available. But under the student view, these things are not available to you until you have completed the student orientation quiz. So you will do the course overview. Once you complete that, this will open up this, and then next and next. And once you have completed all of that, then you should take the student orientation quiz. Once you click on the student orientation quiz and take it, unlimited attempts, but you need to get all of the questions correct. Once you get all of the questions correct, then the rest of the canvas opens up for you. This is the introductory block. That's 5 bonus points on it. It says 10 points over here, but it should be 5 points. I'll correct that. Then you go into each module, and each module pretty much has a set structure, and the structure repeats itself. So it starts by giving you the purpose of the module. So the first module, we are building the basic blocks of modern day finance and the valuation of financial assets. Our learning outcomes are we're trying to understand the roots of the financial crisis, because much of the roots of the financial crisis of 2007-2008 are still at play today, even though we are almost a decade past it. But many of the things that led to those crises are still part of our regulatory and policy making conversations today. So that's why I have assigned that as a reading, as an exercise, and you will learn that through watching the Inside Job movie. And to watch that movie, you need to either rent, buy, or purchase that. It's available online. It is available through Google Play, through Netflix. It may be available in your public library. So there are a variety of ways in which you can access that movie, but you need to watch that movie, Inside Job. You will read the chapter for each chapter, and then you will watch the lecture video. The lecture video is pretty simple. You click on this one. For example, this is the lecture video for chapter 3, part 1. Once you click on it, the lecture video comes up. You can forward it if you know the minute mark that you want to forward it to. If you're reviewing it again, you can review that lecture. You can watch it at double speed if you want to get through it quicker. So that's okay too. That's okay also. So there are a variety, and this is what I can track. I can track who among you have actually clicked on that video and watched it. So back to the modules over here. Once you have done that, then you will watch the problem tutorials. And once you have watched the problem tutorials, then you will work on the end of chapter problems. For the end of chapter problems, as you will see over here, as you can see over here, the end of chapter problems, the solutions are provided to you. So the questions and the solutions are provided to you right here. You can work through them based on the numbers that you have seen on your syllabus. So review that. What I advise you is that you don't look at those solutions before you attempt to do the problem, because that defeats the purpose. The solutions are there to help you validate that you have indeed understood whatever material you are working on. But the first step should be you attempt the problem on your own, and then you look at the solutions to validate if you have indeed done that properly. After you have done that, and you can see for chapter 3, I'm asking you at a minimum to work on problem 6, 7, 9, 10, 15, and 17. Then after you have worked on that, then you go into My Finance Lab. You will click on that. That will take you to a My Finance Lab website. You will click on that. You have to first register. There's an access fee that you will pay for it. And then after you have accessed it, you will sign in and go into My Finance Lab. So let me take you in just to show this to you in a moment, how this works. So if I go and sign in, so I'm looking at DL over here. That's your course. And if you have purchased the e-textbook, you will be able to access the e-textbook from here. That may be your preference for accessing this material. So you can see over here, chapter 3, we were looking at that as one of our introductory chapters. That entire textbook is available. This may be a preferred way of reading, but that's up to you. If you want a physical copy, certainly you can access that too. What you will be accessing are assignments. So these are practice quizzes. The graded quizzes don't show up over here because their dates are not applicable yet. But once they were once they are ready, meaning once that window is activated, for example, the first quiz, September 1 to September 3rd, you will see this show up on your assignment link. Graded quiz will show up on your assignment link, and that graded quiz is on chapter 3. You will take that test, and then after that window of testing has closed, which is for the first quiz, September 3rd, then you will be able to go and review the answers to the quiz, which will then help you get ready for the test. And then the rest of the course pretty much follows that same standard template. Review the chapter, watch the videos, watch the problem tutorials. The problem tutorials are where I am working out a few examples from the class. So you need to watch those to see how I'm approaching, and I select the examples in a way that I can illustrate to you how you approach a finance problem in this course. And then you will work through the solutions, work through the end of chapter solutions based on the problem numbers assigned to you. Then you will go into My Finance Lab, and this way you will complete everything. Once you have completed all 3 chapters, you will be able to take your quiz 1, quiz 2 through My Finance Lab, and then you will be able to be ready for the exam. For the exam, I do provide a formula sheet. But that formula sheet will be provided to you inside your test. The test is all online. I will show you in a minute how you will set it up for yourself. You have to set up your equipment, you have to work through it, and there is an online proctor that is monitoring your test. Even though you are doing it online, but you are expected to do it in a room where nobody else is present, of course in front of a computer with a webcam and a sound. And you will not have any books, any other material, or any other person in the room with you at that time. There is an online proctor that is watching you as you are taking the test. So, since you are being watched by an outside third party, make sure that you are dressed appropriately. that online proctor may remind you if you have done something that's in violation, and if they are unable to get your attention, they will flag those videos and send it to me. And if I see a violation of the rules that are required for taking the test, then I will act accordingly, including reserving the right to fail you in the test if there is any kind of unethical behavior. But I provide the formula sheets for you so that you can see which formulas will be available to you on the date of the exam. What I urge you to do is not memorize, not use these formula sheets as a crutch, because if you're looking up the formulas on the day of the test, you're probably not well prepared for the test. This is given to you almost like an emergency exit. Just in case you forgot a particular formula, then you have a quick cheat sheet available to you that you go in, take a quick look at it, and continue with the test. But you should not use this as a crutch to work on your exam questions, because that'll be too little, too late, because this just would not be enough time for you to work through all your problems. So that's the progression of each module. Each module goes through this sequence: chapters, those sequence, then the quiz, and then the exam. How do we take the exam? So I go back to my modules, and you will see that on the top link there is Examity. That's where you will see the exams for you. These are the exams. So for your course, that's your course. And if I open it up, you see my 4 exams over here, the dates on which those exams are operating. You can see those exams are operating over a 24-hour window, so you have to complete a 1 hour, 15-minute test over any time during that 24-hour window. But for you to do this, you will have to set this up properly. And for you to do that, you need to read through this section very, very carefully. So you can read through the Examity guide. It tells you exactly the rules of the game, what are necessary, and then the instructions. You will follow this instruction sheet. This will tell you how to set it up, how to access Examity, how to submit it, and the most important thing for Examity is that although the test is available to you over the 24-hour period, you need to schedule the exam. You need to schedule for the online proctor to be available to you. And if you do not schedule the exam, I think in advance of a 24-hour notice, if you're scheduling the exam for in less than 24 hours in advance, you will have to pay an additional fee. But if you do it with more than 24-hour notice, then your exam is scheduled. You don't have to pay a fee for the 4 exams that you are taking online, and it works pretty well. So once you do the scheduling, it'll tell you. So basically, the first test is on September 12th, I think. You will schedule that for September 12th over any of the time slots that are available. So of course, the earlier you do it, you will be able to get your preferred time slot. So that's your Examity, and then on the day you will be able to access your exams through Examity. So that's Module 1, same process Module 2, Module 3, Module 4, Module 5, same way, except the 5th exam will be in class. I'm still working out the logistics if it can be done on a computer or it has to be done on a physical piece of paper. And then the last thing is doing your group essay. So for your group essay, once I go into the content overview, review the criteria. This is the grading criteria, the grading rubric that I will be using for your assignment. The goal over here is to develop practical insights into the inner workings of the financial system. You will be drafting your essays through Canvas collaboration. So each group will, so if you're group 1, you will go in over here and you will draft your essay, and I will be able to see exactly, this is a Google Doc essentially. You will sign in through a Gmail or through, you have to have a Gmail for you to sign into this one. If you don't have a Gmail, just create one for this course. It's free, so that should not be a problem. Once you sign in, you will be able to access it, and then you will be able to create it. When you are, when the final part has to be done, when you're ready to submit, you will click over here, and you will submit. You will submit. One member of the group will submit a PDF file, and I will be able to grade that PDF file. Okay. Back to modules. And the final thing is the group presentation. You will do a group presentation and you will submit a website URL essentially to me once you have completed it, and you will complete it using this voice thread
okay, so the first step
process that you will see. You can review this over here. It will tell you exactly how to do a voice thread narration for the PowerPoint, and you will work it through that. And once you have completed it, you will go back over here, and you will record. You will submit the URL for me to review. So that pretty much completes the basic overview of the course. You will check your grades through this link over here once grades are available for you to be checked. You can to access your group, you will use the people link, and you can see over here I have randomly assigned you into group. For example, group 1 is made up of these 2 students for now. You can start your conversation, but wait to finalize everything until the first add drop dates have passed. Check on announcements, right? And you will receive reminders as quiz dates and exam dates approach. So that completes the overview for Advanced Financial Management, Finance 6406 DL.